Venerina Conti is a globe-trotting professional singer, radio presenter, conspiracy podcaster, and on-off blogger. Now, Verena has unveiled her latest masterpiece, Unlock the Power Within. Discover the secrets of energy and healing to ignite your transformation. This transformative guide takes readers on a soul-stirring journey of self-discovery, drawing from her extensive experiences in the healing arts and exploration of energy. And Verena joins us now. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you today?
I'm excellent, thanks. So, what inspired you to write Unlock the Power Within?
Well, for years I've been working with clients as a holistic health therapist, but I have a background in psychology and transpersonal psychology. And over the years, I've noticed that there's a very close relationship between people's way of thinking, living, reacting to circumstances and the health that they have.
And in what ways are those two linked?
Well, every time we have a thought is nothing more than an energy impulse. It's a vibration. It's something intangible. We can't see it. It exists, but we create it in the mind. But every thought we have, we attach an emotion to. Now, that the emotion we attach to it also has a particular type of energy attached to it. So if we have an angry thought, we'll have an angry emotion. That angry emotion creates an energy of, well, anger itself is a very powerful energy, let's say, yes?
Yeah.
And then that energy sits within our body. It causes a block somewhere, and then that affects our health. If, for example, in Chinese medicine, it's believed in Qigong as well, it's believed that the energy of anger is rooted within the liver area. And so invariably, people who get angry, they have a lot of digestive problems. I mean, not just people who get angry, stress in general will provoke that. But the energy blocks particularly in that area.
Unlock the Power Within delves into the world of energy healing and spiritual awakening. So how would you define energy healing overall, and what do you think makes it so vital?
I think it's vital because nowadays, especially since we've come out of the lockdowns from COVID, so many more people are suffering with some form of health issue, mental health issue, stress. And I think now more than ever, it's very, very important to be mindful of the thoughts we have and the reactions we have to circumstances, people, places, situations, and the energy they provoke within the body. Because you've probably noticed yourself every single day now we're hearing of newer and newer diseases appearing. We're hearing of people who are getting seriously ill. And I believe it's very much because of the thoughts and the emotion attached to those thoughts. And so therefore, being mindful of that, we can actually change our energy. We can cultivate a more positive way of thinking, a more positive way of reacting, living. And therefore, we can actually prevent a lot of illnesses within the body.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. If somebody is angry today, but then tomorrow they're happy, you can maybe get away with it once in a while, to have that emotion of anger. I'm not saying that anger is a bad thing, but we need to channel that anger into something else, into sporting activities, anything, to get it out of the body so that we don't create these energy blocks.
Yeah.
And therefore, because in the long run, I mean, today it might be just indigestion, but 3 to 6 months down the line or a year down the line, it can turn into cancer. It can turn into much more serious illnesses within the body.
And is there a bit of a cycle, I suppose, where you mentioned we're hearing all the time about new diseases, and even if you don't have one yourself, it could worry you and stress you out and then increase your own risk?
Absolutely. Well, if you think about it, I would say that 99.9% of all worries and stresses come from fear. It's not, as people, we have a tendency to blow things out of proportion, don't we, in our minds when we stress over something. Instead of being aware and conscious of the particular thing as it is in reality, we tend to think, oh my goodness, but what happens if that happens? Oh, and if that happens, then this is going to happen. And then if that happens, oh my goodness, and we stress over the fear that doesn't even exist because we've created the fear, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because there's the famous quote, the only thing to fear is fear itself, something like
Absolutely,
that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Is it one of those things that's easier said than done? Because you can't just kind of snap out of it and not be fearful.
No, that's very true. We can't just snap out of it and not be fearful of things. There are obviously things that we're fearful, but I think that when we learn to be mindful of things and look at them for what they are. So, for example, road rage.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm thinking of that, but somebody comes too close to your car, they almost hit you, and then you have a fit of rage.
Yeah.
But that fit of rage is actually a form of fear. Fear that you might have had a damaged car, fear that you might have got injured, fear that your passengers might have been injured. But it's fine to feel that fear. But when we look at it realistically, did the car hit the other car? No, we're okay. Did anybody get injured? No. So there's no point in thinking, but what if? Because it didn't happen. So I think the antidote to retaining fear is letting it go.
Where would you place these negative emotions on the scale of causing health problems? How would you compare it to a bad diet or smoking or other things like that?
People who have bad diets and people who smoke, they obviously have, or people who use alcohol as well, are dealing with inner issues that I relate to not having enough self-love to look after themselves properly. So they may be childhood wounds that have been sort of, how can I put this, forgotten over time, but subconsciously they're still there. Because if you think about it, if a child goes and dresses up, puts mummy's shoes on, mummy's clothes on, and then they come out and they've got lipstick all over their face or something, and an adult sees them, all it takes is for the adult to say, go and change those clothes, you look ridiculous.
Yeah.
And that then becomes a complex. Although the child will go off, and feel upset or maybe cry or whatever it is, that in adulthood, that becomes a complex because it's actually a seed for insecurity. And many adults then in later life will withdraw from putting themselves forward for something for the fear of being ridiculed.
It's quite crazy, isn't it, that probably every decision we make in life, we're thinking about fear, aren't we?
Absolutely. But this is where we need to look at things for what they are in the moment, living in the here and now. How can I deal with this now in this way and then let it go? If there is an insecurity of some form that comes from a childhood wound, sitting down with ourselves and being mindful of it and thinking, well, where did it actually come from? How can I get to the bottom of it? Does it serve me as an adult? Well, if it's causing me pain and it's causing me suffering and it's not allowing me to move forward in life, then I need to let it go and not attach to it.
And I suppose the thing is, it's all linked, isn't it? If you've got a bad diet or are smoking a lot and drinking alcohol, you may very well be dealing with a lot of negative emotions. So you've got all sorts of things going on that can increase your risk of catching something.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's like, it's a kind of a vicious circle, isn't it, really? Because the people all of us have some issues of some kind. So we have the issues, then we use the food, the alcohol, the drugs, whatever it is, to compensate for it. But then the alcohol, the food, and the drugs take over, and then they mentally depress us even more. And it's like a vicious cycle, but the cycle has to stop somewhere. So if it has to stop somewhere, then we need to start looking at, why am I eating this way? Why am I smoking? Why am I trying to hide my feelings with alcohol?
Particularly today, it's quite a fast-paced and stressful world, of course. So how can the kind of principles and practices that you mention in the book help individuals kind of find resilience and maintain a better balance in their lives?
Slow down. Few simple words. I know it's not very simple nowadays because people have, are working crazy hours. The cost of living has just gone up. It's skyrocketed. But the important thing is to slow down. It doesn't matter whether you can just grab 20 minutes a day for yourself, half an hour a day for yourself. If you calculate that you're probably sleeping for 8 hours, then you have another 16 hours available during the day. You should be able to at least have 1 hour where you can slow down and dedicate that time to yourself. And during that time, of course, you can practice meditation. I know a lot of people say, oh, I can't meditate because, I'm not in a place to meditate. But that's the whole point of meditation. meditation. You don't have to be in the place to meditate. You just have to sit down quietly and be with yourself.
So what advice would you give to somebody who's maybe a little bit skeptical or hesitant about exploring energy healing and spiritual awakening?
Okay, well, for the skeptic people out there, I would say think of food. When you ingest food, you ingest calories, right? Calories are energy. I'm not talking about a spiritual energy. I'm talking about physical energy that comes from food. Your body needs calories to work. So if you consider that every single cell in your body is like a factory, and the workers in the factory need fresh energy to actually repair body tissue. So if you're not feeding your body well, then it's not going to have a fresh supply of energy for all those workers. If you're stressed, the food is going to ferment in the gut. It's going to turn toxic. And so therefore, you're still not going to have fresh quality supply of energy for those workers in the factory. So really, I'm not talking about something that is a bit woo-woo here.
Yeah.
It can be proven in science, the kind of energy that I'm talking about. I mean, yes, there is energy that comes from the air. There is energy that comes from water. There is energy, spiritual energy. But energy for people who are more science-based, then think of it in terms of the calories that you're eating. If you go to a gym, you run, you burn off calories, you're burning energy, but you don't see that energy. And they have to look at it, I think, in that way to understand that energy is essential as water, food, and all the other elements that the body needs.
Well, of course, this book out now is called Unlock the Power Within. Are you working on any more books at the moment?
I am.
Ooh.
I'm currently finishing designing it's a step-by-step method to transformation. And am I allowed to shamelessly
Yes.
mention the name?
Yeah.
It's called the V to V method, which is from victim to victory. And it's a step-by-step method that people can follow to actually transform their minds, to transform their health.
Sounds exciting. And in the meantime, as I say, this book is of course called Unlock the Power Within, Discover the Secrets of Energy and Healing to Ignite Your Transformation. Where are all the places that this book's available to get?
Well, the book was released last week and it's currently available on Amazon worldwide. It's in 3 languages at the moment: Italian, Spanish, and English. And hopefully by next week it will be in Portuguese as well.
Oh, wow. What's the reasoning behind having it in different languages? Is it just so it's more accessible?
Well, no, it's because as I used to be a professional singer, and I traveled around the world singing. And I was also a holistic healer while I was a singer. And I know those languages. I speak those languages fluently. And I have many, many friends still in Portugal, Italy, and Spain. In fact, I live in Spain. So that's the reason behind having a multilingual book, so I can reach more people and help more people.
Well, many thanks for talking to us today. It's been great to have you here.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been an honor. Thank you.